Hi, my name is Mark and you're on a 5-minute AI channel. So today I'll show you how to build such solution where you can talk to your documents. Let me quickly show you how it works. So first of all, we can upload the document in our database. So for example, here I uploaded this fake resume of John Doe, where we have some professional experience, technical skills, projects and education. So after that, you can simply chat with that. Yeah, so for example, I asked how long candidate worked on the last job, and it returned that it worked from June to present. So this is matched with the data in our document. But moreover, based on my experience with real projects, what you will need is to share this ability to external users. So we can do that with this simple button, share chat. It will copy the link and then you'll be able to share this link and maybe embed to your website, maybe share with your colleagues. And what they will see is this web chat where they can anonymously chat with the documents, tell me more about the projects of John Doe, and told about these two projects that we have again in our PDF file. So also you will need to see the analytics of these chats, and as you can see we have that too here in all sessions. You can check all sessions, how many messages were there when it was created, and the messages itself. And this solution is free and I share it with you in the description, so you'll be able to sign up and check it yourself and use it for your business. But the most interesting that I will show you how to build such solution by yourself. Okay, let's get started. We always started with the PRD document. It's a product requirements document where we describe user stories, database description, backend, and usually interface. So we have four simple user stories. We need to upload documents, delete them, we want to chat with documents, and we want to share chat with other users. So based on this information, you already can architect your database. For example, documents means files, and documents it means vectors, because all documents will be stored in the database as the vectors, and you need to have a separate table for that. Also, I forgot to mention the main architecture. So every project that you build with Lovable have the same architecture. This is how I actually do that. I integrated with the Supabase as where you can manage your data, and also I integrated with the webhooks to n8n, where I can trigger backend and control every process there. So also we have other tables. It's projects, because we want to separate, for example, different projects and files. And for example, I want to upload for HR management, and again I want to upload for sales, and this way you can separate these two departments with different projects. And profiles, it's a main table in any project that will be linked to the user. Actually, yeah, you have user ID as a link to user table. And also we have sessions and messages. So each session, it's a separate dialogue between user, and it will have OpenAI thread ID on. So this way we can control messages and history of the messages. And basically that's all. You don't need two settings actually. So when we have database description, we can move forward to backend. So for backend, we need to upload documents, delete documents, and chat with documents. This is only 3 workflows that we need in n8n. We can copy this description and use special prompt to go to ChatGPT and ask to generate all SQL queries. So for example, I have this prompt, I have a special prompt, you can find it in my community, where I described all things that should be in our SQL queries. I provide example of query for Supabase, and then I provide a list of my tables. And as a result, I have enum list, I have all tables. And after that, I move directly to RLC rules, because we need to secure our project. And for that, we need to set up different RLC rules. Again, if you don't know what is RLC rules, check out our community. We have a course on Lovable where we describe in details how to set up it and what does it mean. Yeah, so basically it's a different SQL queries that set different rules, what data and who can access it. Yeah, and after that I just tweak RLC rules, and basically that's all. Yeah. And also another step that we need to set up database, we need to set up vector store extension. So for that we have again our default SQL queries. So create extension vector, create table documents with a vector column, and then create function match documents. It will be enough to use your database as a rack for your agent. If you want to find all these SQL queries, check out our community. We have again a Lovable course where we describe how to set up database, RLC rules, authentication, again this query that I showed to you, and also we have a free trial for you, so you can build your PRD document for free with again all needed prompts for ChatGPT. Yeah, we have it here. So after we set up database, yeah, so basically I get SQL queries, the ChatGPT, I just paste it, run, and the whole database is ready. Then I pasted RLC rules, and now it's private. So it's quite easy to set up it nowadays with ChatGPT. Hopefully you don't need to write all this stuff. Yeah, so after that we need to set up backend. So backend, again, what we have, it's upload document, delete document, and chat with documents. So you don't actually need to have interface to set up your first backend, because always I set up webhooks. Yeah, so we will trigger all actions. Yeah, for example, create new project, it's internal. For example, upload file. This one will trigger this n8n workflow, create new file, and we'll send some data. So you can actually simulate this data here with just pin data. Yeah, you can just upload your file manually to your table in the files, copy ID, yeah, provide the path. Yeah, so also I forgot to mention that you need to set up storage as well. Again, storage also have all RLC rules. Yeah, you can check it here. It again was set up with ChatGPT. And then you can upload the file, copy the path. For example, this one, yeah, I can get URL, save it to files, save this path here. Yeah, actually the path will be with the token, but I need only this part from profiles to the end of the name of the file. Yeah, so you just copy that and paste it, and then you'll be ready to simulate these requests. So you will just need to copy and paste ID here and save it. This way I set up all backend process before actually building front end. Yeah, so how it looks like inside, we have a create file, like when new file created, we need to get this file. Yeah, we get this file from the Supabase. So always what we do, we always just transfer ID of records in the database from frontend to backend, and then on backend we retrieve data from the database. So you don't need to retrieve data in the frontend and send all this data to backend and somehow manipulate it. It's a bad practice. Yeah, so we have ID, we get the file. So in the file we have a path. So we're gonna upload this file. You don't need to set up anything, just credentials for the Supabase and your URL. And after that we are gonna use Yama parse. So we upload this file to Yama parse. Again, we have a separate on our channel you can find separate guide how to work with the Yama index. It's quite easy, and you can check it for free. Yeah, so after that we upload it, we need to get process status, and we need to get parse data. Yeah, so actually I can show it to you how it works on the real data. Yeah, we upload it. We have a status pending. Yeah, we have some data here. Then hit get parse data, and then we need to upload this data directly to our Supabase. So if you don't know how it works, again you can check in the guide, but if it's quickly, yeah, we have some statuses. We check in the status. If the status is pending, we just wait, and get back here and check until it will be success. Then we read the data itself, and then we save this data to the Supabase. We have simple insert into Supabase thing. We have query, match documents that we set up earlier, and then we just update file status, and that's all. Yeah, so on the front end, we will see that file is processed and we will have some feedback. So also you will need to have separate workflow for file deleting. So when we click delete file, we just again have file ID, delete the file itself from the files, and then because we store all documents, like all vectors, yeah, so in the documents we store vectors and pieces, like cut pieces of the content, we need to delete them and we need to find them with the metadata. So we delete in documents and filtering with the metadata where file ID equals file ID that we sent via webhook. This way we delete in file. And the last one, we chat with files. So every time we create a new chat, we create a session in our database, and after that we send in the message. Again, we create a message here. So as a result, we need to trigger this workflow with the message ID. Yeah, so we have a message ID, we have a session ID, we have profile ID, everything. We need to process this message and save answer back to the database. So this is how it works. Again, how any chat works. We send a message, we send data on backend, then backend store data to the database, yeah, here, and in the database we have a real-time updates. Yeah, you can see, click to disable real-time, it means that real-time enabled, and it means that when we store new message, it will automatically shows here and it will be visible for the user. Yeah, so how it works, we get a message. Yeah, we need to get the message record, then session record, then we set some variables. It's a prompt, simple prompt for business assistant that works with a rack. Then we set up some text. Yes, schema is outdated, we don't need it. And then we use OpenAI responses to send this message. Again, if you don't know how to work with OpenAI responses, check our previous guide on the YouTube channel. We describe it in details there. So we have instructions, we have input, we have previous response ID, yeah, to keep the story. And also we have a query for the knowledge base as a tool. Yeah, so we have a tool, web search and knowledge base. And then we switch between message and function call, because a response of OpenAI can be the message or the call function. So if it's a function call, we simply request data from the vector database, from the documents. We're gonna set up metadata filter, like we're gonna use project ID. This way we're gonna search only through the documents of one of the projects, and then we simply aggregate this data and submit to response back to OpenAI, where it will process this data and return us a message that we will just create in the database. And basically that's all. We will need to only save OpenAI response ID to keep the history of the session. This is how backend works. And please click the like for this video and subscribe on our channel. We have a lot of interesting guides about n8n and Lovable. So the last step here is to set up frontend. And for frontend, I spent only 67 messages, I guess, for this project to set up it. As you can see, message count 67 and AI edits, it's 48. So you don't need to spend $100 to set up this application for yourself. It's just a half of plan for $25. It means it's $10. So for frontend, we simply asking one by one to create interface. As you can see from my history of messages, I just started with the auth page. After that, I asked to create chats, I asked to create sessions, and one by one I created all pages. Then I ask to set up webhooks, and this way I can trigger our backend to create new file, delete file, and create response for our chats. So let's test again. For example, let's ask about education. What education, John? As you can see, John Doe has a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science. Yeah, we can check it that it's true. And also don't forget that we have a anonymously chat. So how it actually works, you need to go to authentication, to like sign in providers, and here you need to allow anonymous sign in, because how it actually works, you have RLC rules for your database, and to access your data right now you need to be signed in. So if you want to share this chat to anonymous users on your website or somewhere else, we need to have some logic for people who don't want to sign up, but we need to somehow recognize them. So for these purposes, we have anonymous sign-in, and it stores some cache data that let Supabase and the application recognize the user and let them into the system and have some user in the database. Yeah, so if you can check the authentication and the users, we have some anonymous users, and these users also signed in, so they have some limited access to the data. They can see the messages and they can have access to all sessions, and that's all. So this way your application will be still secure even with these sort of public chats. Thank you for your time today and have a good one. Bye.